Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank, thank you to those who've made it out early on a Saturday after Friday night party. Yeah. Welcome to day two. I guess I'm introducing day two of JawnCon. So welcome to my talk on Bluetooth Warwalking. So a few quick things. There is a box plugged in right here. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I give you full authorization to do whatever you want with it. One hint is that it's not connected to Wi-Fi. You can probably guess what it's connected to, but if you don't figure it out by the end, you will know what's going on there. And another quick thing is, obviously all the stuff that I've done this talk is for educational purposes. You'll see that I kind of mess with some things here and there. It's just at places where I've done some little pranking and stuff, but we always reverted things back to their original state after we were done. So let's start with who I am. My name is Matt, also known as Knockout. I'm originally from Virginia, Virginia Beach, but now I live in California in the Bay Area. I built my first website in GeoCities, which makes me older than I look. Everybody thinks I'm in my 20s. I'm like, no. And very importantly for this talk, I am not a Bluetooth expert in any way, shape, or form. So if you have questions later, I can't tell you about those parts of the thing, but you'll see why it's important for this talk that I be clear that I'm not an expert in this field. So this whole experience started off with a TikTok that I saw about a year ago. I could not find the original video. It seems to have been scrubbed from the internet, other than some areas where maybe it's like baked into other videos. But this guy had found that at mattress firms, the bed store across the country, they started offering this new thing called the Pro Smart bed base. And he found out that it had unpaired, unauthenticated Bluetooth connections. You could not control anything from the bed itself. It was all controlled from your phone. So he could go into any store, play anything he wanted, turn up as loud as he wanted. The only way to stop it would be to unplug the bed. So he decided he would play All Star by Smash Mouth at like all these mattress firms. And he was trying to encourage the rest of the world to do the same. And it just so happened that there's a mattress firm in my town of Walnut Creek, California. So I went to the mattress firm in Walnut Creek, California. And there happened to be a ton of Pro Smart beds in the mattress firm in Walnut Creek, and easily it could connect to it. And then this. Let's see if you can hear this. It's kind of low, but. So, success. Now, by the way, when I made these slides, I didn't realize how big the screen was going to be, so sorry. You have to see a gigantic version of my face here, but that's all right. We can deal with it for 20 minutes. So, thus begins my journey with Bluetooth Warwalking. Obviously, most of you in the room and watching at home probably know what Bluetooth is. It's a low-power, short-range wireless technology that allows communication between devices. I have found that it's a very overlooked attack surface in general. There's so many Bluetooth devices out in the world, more and more every day, in your homes and in the businesses. And I've found that a lot of these companies and people have sort of prioritized convenience over security, which you'll find out why that can be a problem here as I continue to talk. Not that like a bed base is the biggest problem in the world, but you'll see there's some other instances in where, just even a little bit of security would help. But a lot of even big companies in the world have not sort of prioritized the default settings on these things. So I call Bluetooth Warwalking is walking through public areas with just your phone and other optional tools and scanning for open Bluetooth connections. No special gear, just curiosity and a pair of sneakers. So literally just with your phone, you can do some of the things that I'm going to show you today. I came up with sort of a methodology about how to do it, so I call it scope. You sniff the area, see what's out there. You connect if you can. Do a little bit of OSINT to see maybe what the device is and what you can do with it. Then you pwn it. And then I didn't have an E, so that's the end. And then so let's go through some other examples of things that I found. So obviously I found that bed base, and I was in Dublin, Ireland, and I was out in, it was like a big street party going on. And I opened up my phone and looked in the Bluetooth menu, and I saw this device, the TS410. I hit it, I connected. I had no idea what it was, and so I did a little bit of my OSINT, and I found it was the Alto TS410. So This is that was the party, if you couldn't tell. That's theirs coming out of their Alto TS410 that I was connected to now. And I did some investigation. It turns out there is an iPhone app for the Alto TS410, and I was connected to it. And there's some options in there. So just out of curiosity, I started to sort of adjust the volume a little bit to see if I could do anything, and nothing seemed to be changing. So unfortunately, I was able to connect to it. I did some research later, and it turned out that the speaker, if it's wired in, it kind of takes precedence over the Bluetooth. So I was connected. It just wasn't able to override the settings that the people had. So it was a good first step after this whole like a mattress firm thing. I found that, okay, I could connect to a speaker in other scenarios. Maybe it could have been worse. I could have done more to it. But in general, there's, I guess, a little bit of security in these, but it again, piqued my interest. So I continued down the path. So the next thing I found, and you see these everywhere, literally, if you're like at restaurants or anywhere, TV, Samsung Q60 AA55 TV, which I guess you can probably imagine is a Samsung Q60 AA55 inch TV. And so you can connect to these as well. You hit the button, it says connected. The difference with this is that you can see here, this is a little cafe right next to might be hard to see. It was right next to my office in Walnut Creek. It brings up that like pairing dialogue on the TV, which there's nothing I can do about that, right? Because I tried to pair, doesn't pair. I can't like hit OK on my phone. So again, a little bit of sadness, thought about it for a second, a little bit of curiosity. And then I started rummaging through my bag and I found my Flipper Zero. Flipper Zero has Rogue Master firmware, and I got the thing on top of that is actually, it's a cool thing. It's called the Rabbit Labs Master Blaster IR Blaster that plugs into the GPIO pins on the top of the Flipper. It's basically like a range extender for IR. And if you all don't know, Flipper Zero is a little hacking device. It has IR capabilities, and which basically can emulate the remote controls that you use for your TV and any other kind of remote controls. So with the firmware that I had on there, the Rogue Master firmware, there's actually a Samsung universal remote in it. So you see different directions and the select button, and I could hit the select button and I was paired to the TV. Again, it's a little hard to see. That's the TV's back there. I saw that, okay, it's showing like a sort of an audio screen where I could play audio off the TV. So, okay, I guess I was trying to like maybe see if I could screen mirror. It wouldn't work. So I guess the Samsung has a little bit of security. You can connect, you can play music. This cafe doesn't use volume on their TV, so I was trying to play it. I could play it, just nothing was coming out. But again, I kind of made it a step forward. I was able to figure out how to connect to something that maybe I couldn't directly connect to just with my phone. So, so there's a little bit of security in the Samsung devices. So, what could come of this? Obviously, you could disrupt events if you can hijack the audio. You can disrupt people's sleep as well. I guess if you can hijack their bed, but so you can disrupt speakers at public events, business presentations. Kind of mess with like retail locations. And obviously, you could probably play a lot more inappropriate audio than the audio I was playing on these things. So God only knows what people will think of when they play. So, so that concludes the Samsung takeover portion of the presentation. But wait, there's one more thing. It says here, hold for applause, but I guess no need for that. Thank you. So it turns out if you're on the same Wi-Fi network as the TV, you can screen mirror to the TV. It also turns out if you're in a bar in Chicago and you ask the bartender for the Wi-Fi code, they'll sometimes give it to you. So. That was David Letterman. Obviously that was the last thing that was playing on my phone. So I was like, wow, okay. So literally, if you're just on the same Wi-Fi network, which a lot of these bars are just like have one Wi-Fi network, you can connect to the TV and screen mirror on the TV. So what is the problem there? That sort of escalates the problem through some very simple, just using your phone, a flipper, and just asking someone for a Wi-Fi code. You can hijack a display. even worse. It's like you can only imagine what you can display on these screens if you're worse than I am. I guess I just had an old clip of it's like Bill Gates on David Letterman or something like that. So yeah, obviously this is also a problem for devices beyond just audio. There's also TVs in all sorts of places, restaurants, business locations, and these Samsung TVs are like everywhere. I've noticed that Samsung specifically, people just love those TVs for these types of environments. So then finally, I have one more device here that I looked at. I was at a local cafe in my neighborhood in Walnut Creek. Again, I know the manager there, and he hires some of the local high school kids to work as baristas. And I do my homework there. I'm getting a master's right now in data science, and so I was doing my homework, and I got a little bit bored, and I was like looking at my available Bluetooth networks, and I found the TM-M30II_028243. And I did a little bit of OSINT, and I found out that that is the Epson TM-M32 thermal receipt printer, which is also this guy right here. I got a hold of one of them. I was able to pair it to the printer, like no problem. I didn't know what it was, so I started Googling, and I found out it was that printer, and then I also found out that they have an application. Could do it right now because I have it turned on. And this has all sorts of menus in it. You can connect to it, including an edit receipt and print feature. And so I could create this. You can print logos too, which is great. You can actually print images off of this thing. It's in grayscale. And there's no ink. It's just a thermal printer, so it uses heat. And so I was able to print my face and like a little logo to it. But what I actually did was I was like, okay, I'm going to mess with these high school kids a little bit while I'm sitting here. And so I actually printed, this is the first thing I printed off. I did it as like an image in my freeform app in my iPhone, and I printed this off. So I watch as this high school girl, she picks the drink ticket to make the drink, and she looks at it. And I see her looking around like, what? And she turns to her friend who's working with her. She's like, you did this, right? And he's like, what? And then they're conferring with their other high school friends. I actually hear one of them go, yeah, I guess with AI, maybe in 10 years. And so I used to walk by this cafe on my way to work every morning. And so I would just and I told the manager about it, and he's like, just don't use my name in the talk, or I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to use this printer, whatever, no big deal. So every day I'd walk by this cafe on my way to work, and I would fire off another one of these. I could do it from this. I could actually do it from. Oh, did I lose a? Wait. It's fine. We'll figure it out.
Did I connect to the projector?
See, exactly. That's exactly my point. That's exactly my point. Okay, cool. So I could connect from as I was. Oh, here we go. Someone's on. It's a test receipt. Now figure out how to print something else out. I'll read whatever you print out. How about that? So I could connect actually from the sidewalk outside the cafe. I didn't have to be in the cafe. So I printed that a few days later, and then I printed this. I never told them. I don't know if the manager ever told them. There could be some high school kids walking around Northern California thinking that in communication with time travelers from the future. So anyways, it was obviously fun, fun to do, but there's some real world consequences to being able to connect to a printer. This is actually not the only printer. I can't remember the name of the other one. There's another one I was able to connect to somewhere else, and it's a very similar thing. Thermal receipt printer, application you can download and print from. And obviously the problem is you can be inventive with how you could use this if you're a malicious actor. So you could print off fake refunds and go back and get refunds for things you didn't buy, generate fake drink tickets so that you get free drinks, and just general operational chaos. I imagine you could probably quote unquote DDoS this thing. Hold on, we've got a transmission that's come through. Mistakes were made, it says. Where was I? No, I was saying you could probably like, just run through people's paper, just print off like blocks of like black images or whatever to just like use the paper up. So obviously it's not good to be able to have a printer wide open. And so I guess in conclusion, as I'm getting near the end of this, is how do we defend against this? It's super easy to defend in general against some of these things. You can disable the Bluetooth. This printer, for example, has the ability to turn the Bluetooth off. You can add pairing, so you can actually ask it for a code if you're going to connect to it. And none of that is set up by default in these printers. And this is made by Epson, so this is actually a very, very common printer as well. I looked online. It's maybe one of the more common thermal printers that people use.
How much do they cost?
I think it's like $200. Yeah, something like that.
Is that Bluetooth Light?
I'm no Bluetooth expert, so I don't know. And actually, I don't know if you can have concurrent connections. Maybe when someone's connected.
What program do you use with your phone?
Literally, you just open up, like, I have an iPhone. I just open up the settings, the Bluetooth, where I would just normally find TM-M30 and then a bunch of things. It's possible maybe it only accepts one Bluetooth connection at a time, and it looks like it is connected. So you'll have to like fight them for it. But I can plug this in somewhere like later if anybody wants to play with it. It's an image. Oh, okay. Great job. It says. Anyways, I only got a couple minutes. The hotel I'm staying at is like something out of a David Lynch movie, and it's a picture from the front of it. So, I'm getting derailed here. Yeah, you can disable Bluetooth on a lot of these devices, including like the Samsung TVs can just have their Bluetooth disabled. Obviously, ensure that there's some sort of pairing mechanism or authentication, and just do regular security audits. So even in your home or in your business, literally pull up your phone, see what's available on your Bluetooth, see what you can connect to. Again, it's shocking when you're in a public place how many things you can connect to. And obviously, certain things like, AirPod Pros, for example, I can't just connect to anybody's AirPod Pros because there is actual pairing mechanisms to it. So it's surprising to me how many devices, including bed bases, don't have that kind of pairing that's simple to do and to implement, from a business standpoint. So why does this matter? These are not sophisticated attacks, as you can tell. I'm not an expert in Bluetooth. It did not require any sort of expensive equipment. And people that actually know what they're doing obviously can use things like flipper zeros to escalate these types of attacks. And so it's shockingly easy to create disruption if you wanted to through Bluetooth networks. So just being aware of yourself and of your business and the businesses that are making these would be a great thing to continue to improve upon. So with that, this is me. Connect with me. I'll find a place to plug this in if you guys want to play around with it later. Thank you so much, by the way, JawnCon. This is actually my first talk at a hacker conference, so I appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you. Question?
I'm no Bluetooth expert either.
Yeah.
But, I have an anecdote and a question. I'll ask the question first. How does a device like this handle multiple connections? How is it prioritized? I mean, presumably people are connected to this thing now. Like, how does that work? I mean, shouldn't it just like lock onto one and then reject the others? Or?
So it might actually be doing that, because if other people can't connect to it, yeah.
There's another way to prevent people from doing it.
So if presumably the point of sale system at the bar or whatever was connected to this thing, how are you able to override it?
So it wasn't. Yeah. I guess they were connected maybe. Well, the other thing I found with it's this and one of the other devices specifically is there's a Wi-Fi setting. So and if they had been connected to Wi-Fi, I actually was talking to the manager about this. So I tried it. It didn't work because they weren't connected. But it will. Some of these will dump data. Like you can connect it to Wi-Fi to to a webhook that will handle the data coming out of it. And I've got
So you
a
can
drink.
grab the data coming from it?
Yeah, and have it sent to a web.
You can intercept the data that's going
Yeah.
through it. I was going to ask that if you want to generate a fake receipt or a drink ticket or something,
Yeah.
how would you know the format and what it looked like? But you could actually grab that
You-
and then modify it and then send
You
it.
could do that, or there's probably a little bit of simple social engineering or something you could do, or just when you're getting your drink, if you see the ticket, just grab one or something. So
Right. Now, here's my anecdote.
that's perfect.
I live in Philly and Kensington and around nice neighborhood. I park around the corner from my house often because that's one or two spots available. And months ago, maybe last year, I don't know. It was at nighttime, maybe like 9 o'clock at night. I parked in the spot, and I'm sitting there, I'm doing something on my phone, no Bluetooth, just like checking email or something. And some woman came bounding out of her house, and like looking like scowling, like, what's her issue? What's going on? And I didn't think anything of it. But I got it. One of my cars is an old Subaru, and it's not equipped with Bluetooth, but in the center console there's a USB power connector, charger phone, whatever. And I bought a little Bluetooth transceiver, a 12-volt plug thing, cigarette lighter jack, plugged it into that, and ran. Also in the center console is an 3/8-inch audio line level audio input to the stereo system. So I made this little contraption so I could connect Bluetooth to my car stereo.
Oh, cool.
This thing.
Nice.
And apparently it's just always pinging or whatever. I don't know. So I don't know. A couple weeks later, I parked here again one night, and she came coming out again. She started yelling at me, like, "You're fucking with my TV set." I'm like, "No," and I didn't even realize it was a Bluetooth thing. She's like yelling at me. I'm like, "No, I'm not doing anything to your TV set." And she was really pissed off at me. I'm like, "No." So I got out, and then I started walking away. And then I realized, oh, I know what it is. And I said, "Listen, I just figured it out. I got Bluetooth in my car with this thing. I'm not doing this intentionally. It just when I pull up and your phone, apparently her TV is probably always just looking for another connection. I don't know." But I said, that's what it is. So if it happens again, I'm not doing it intentionally. I'm sorry. It's just the way my car talks to the thing. I just thought it was funny that she's all screaming at me and upset. And I don't want to.
Yeah, we were just talking about this last night. I guess Amazon has this new, like, they use the echoes now. You can turn it on to make it like almost like a mesh network to find devices, like sort of, I guess, how like Tile, and some of these things work, and how that, because that's always pinging. What was it? Do you remember what? Amazon Sidewalk, yeah. And because it was pinging, it was like kind of
Had the app on his phone, it would ruin whatever he was listening to on his phone.
it kept disconnecting.
That app was trying to connect to other.
So we were like, you could theoretically get a bunch of these Amazon devices and like DDoS someone's phone or like basically make their Bluetooth. I don't know. We were talking about it. We'll have to figure that out. Like maybe next time I give this talk, I'll do some research on that and figure that out. So yeah, cool. That good? Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.